What would you do if the country you call home suddenly tried to take away your most fundamental right? For millions of naturalized American citizens, this frightening question is becoming a real concern. Today, on August 3, 2025, we are witnessing a government that is more aggressive than ever in its efforts to strip citizenship from those who earned it. This process is called denaturalization. It is the legal procedure the government uses to revoke a person's United States citizenship after it has been granted. It's not the same as deportation, which removes a non-citizen from the country. Denaturalization turns a citizen back into a non-citizen, making them vulnerable to deportation and leaving them in a state of terrifying uncertainty. It's a powerful tool, and its use is on the rise. The promise of American citizenship has always been one of permanence and security. You study, you work hard, you pass the tests, and you take an oath. At that moment, you're supposed to be an American, equal to someone born here. However, recent policies have challenged this very idea. A June 2025 memo from the Department of Justice explicitly ordered federal attorneys to pursue denaturalization cases as a top priority. This isn't just about targeting terrorists or war criminals. The new guidelines are incredibly broad, creating a chilling effect for the estimated 25 million naturalized citizens who have built their lives, families, and futures on American soil. This shift means that small mistakes from long ago could be used to unravel a person's life. This renewed focus on denaturalization creates a kind of second-class citizenship, where the rights of naturalized Americans feel less secure than those of the native-born. The government argues it is simply enforcing the law and protecting the integrity of the immigration system. But critics and civil rights advocates see something more alarming at play. They see a political weapon being used to intimidate immigrant communities. They see a system that can punish people for minor, unintentional errors made years or even decades in the past. Understanding this threat is the first step toward defending yourself against it. It requires vigilance, knowledge, and a clear understanding of your rights and responsibilities as a United States citizen. The fear this policy creates is palpable in communities across the country. Imagine spending years navigating the complex immigration system, finally achieving your dream of becoming a citizen, only to live with a constant worry that an old form or a forgotten detail could be used against you. This is the reality for many. The government's power to denaturalize is not new, but the enthusiasm with which it is now being applied is unprecedented in modern times. This isn't just a legal issue, it's a human issue. It affects real people, real families, and the very fabric of our diverse nation, which has always drawn strength from those who chose to make this country their home. To protect your citizenship, you must first understand how the government can try to take it away. The legal grounds for denaturalization usually fall into two main categories: fraud and illegal procurement. Fraud means you willfully lied about or concealed an important fact during your naturalization process. This could be anything from hiding a past criminal conviction to providing false information about your identity or marital history. The case of Baljinder Singh is a stark reminder of this. His citizenship was revoked because of a name discrepancy on his application. He claimed it was a simple error, but the government argued it was intentional fraud, a decision that upended his life and left him fighting to prove his honesty. Illegal procurement is a slightly different but equally dangerous basis for denaturalization. This means you were not actually eligible for citizenship at the time it was granted, even if you did not intentionally lie. For example, perhaps you did not meet the good moral character requirement because of a past offense you failed to disclose, or maybe you didn't meet the residency requirements. The case of Elliot Duke, a United States Army veteran from the United Kingdom, illustrates this. In June 2025, he was denaturalized for failing to disclose a serious pre-naturalization conviction. The government argued he illegally procured his citizenship by not meeting the character standards, and as a result, he was left stateless, a citizen of no country at all. What makes this process so frightening is that it happens in civil court, not criminal court. This distinction is critical because it strips away many of the protections you would normally have. In a civil denaturalization case, you do not have the right to a free, court-appointed lawyer if you cannot afford one. There is no jury of your peers to hear your story. A single judge makes the final decision. This creates a massive imbalance of power, pitting an individual who may have limited resources against the full might and endless funds of the United States government. It is a David and Goliath battle where David is often left without a slingshot. Furthermore, the government's burden of proof is lower in these cases. In a criminal trial, prosecutors must prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. In a civil denaturalization proceeding, the government only needs to present clear and convincing evidence, a much easier standard to meet. To make matters worse, there is no statute of limitations. This means the government can come after your citizenship 5, 10, or even 50 years after you took your oath. A mistake made decades ago, long since forgotten, can be resurrected and used to declare that your citizenship was never rightfully yours to begin with, threatening everything you have built in this country. Knowing the risks is scary, but it also empowers you to take action. There are concrete, practical steps every naturalized citizen can and should take to build a defense against a potential denaturalization challenge. The most important defense begins long before you even become a citizen: absolute honesty and accuracy. When you fill out any immigration or naturalization form, you must be completely truthful and thorough. Do not hide anything. Disclose every single arrest or criminal charge, no matter how minor or how long ago it happened, even if the charges were dropped or the record was sealed. The government's digital fingerprint databases are vast, and they will find it. An omission is often treated as a willful lie. Your second line of defense is meticulous record keeping. You must become the archivist of your own life. Keep copies of every single document you have ever submitted to United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. This includes your original applications, all supporting evidence, certified translations, receipts, letters, and any correspondence. Store these documents in a safe place, both physically and digitally. If the government ever questions the information you provided, your own records will be your most powerful tool to prove that you acted in good faith and told the truth. Do not rely on the government to have a perfect record of your file. You must maintain your own. If you are ever contacted by the Department of Justice or any federal agent about your citizenship, do not speak to them alone. Your very first action should be to seek legal counsel. Immediately find an experienced immigration attorney who specializes in denaturalization cases. Anything you say can and will be used against you, and government investigators are trained to find inconsistencies. An attorney can protect your rights, communicate with the government on your behalf, and help you navigate the complex legal process. This is not a situation to handle on your own. Your citizenship is too important to risk without expert legal guidance from the very start. Finally, stay proactive and informed. If you discover an error or omission in an application you submitted in the past, do not wait for the government to find it. Consult with an immigration attorney to see if there are ways to proactively correct the record. Sometimes it is possible to amend information or provide clarification before it becomes a problem. Additionally, stay connected with immigrant advocacy organizations and community groups. These organizations, like the Immigrant Legal Resource Center, provide valuable information, resources, and support. Knowing your rights and staying aware of policy changes is a powerful form of self-defense in these uncertain times. Defending your citizenship is more than just protecting a piece of paper. It is about protecting your life, your family, and your future. It is about defending the very promise of America. This country was built by immigrants who chose to make this land their home, who swore an oath of allegiance, and who contributed to its growth and prosperity. The Supreme Court once declared that citizenship is the right to have rights. Without it, you lose your right to vote, your ability to travel freely with a United States passport, and your security against removal from the country you love. This right should not be fragile or conditional. The current push for denaturalization threatens to undermine the core principles of American democracy. It creates a system where millions of Americans are forced to live in fear, constantly looking over their shoulders. When a government can strip citizenship based on minor errors from the distant past, it erodes trust and creates a chilling effect on civic participation. It sends a message that naturalized citizens are not truly equal and that their status is permanently probationary. This is not the America that generations of immigrants have dreamed of and sacrificed for. It is a betrayal of the values of fairness and equality that are supposed to define this nation. Therefore, the fight to protect naturalized citizens is a fight for all Americans. When we allow one group's rights to be weakened, we weaken the rights of everyone. We must stand together and demand that the process for revoking citizenship be fair, just, and used only in the most extreme cases of genuine, significant fraud, not as a tool for political intimidation. We must call on our elected officials to reform the system, to provide the same due process protections in denaturalization cases that exist in criminal proceedings, including the right to a lawyer and a jury trial. The integrity of our democracy depends on it. Your journey to American citizenship was likely long and difficult. You earned it. Now you must protect it with vigilance and courage. By being honest, keeping good records, seeking help when you need it, and staying informed, you are not only defending yourself, but also upholding the fundamental promise of what it means to be an American. Your rights are worth fighting for, because your contributions, your voice, and your presence make this country stronger, richer, and more complete. Never forget that. And ask yourself, what would you do to protect the country that you have chosen to call your home?